It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and this is episode 21. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, February 26, 2023. And my dog is chewing a bone in the background, so hold on one second. Hey. Come on, girl, you can't be chewing that. This whole episode is doomed to be a wild one, so that's what we're going to do today. There's a chance that this could get interrupted while I'm recording for a phone call, so please excuse if you hear a weird drop. And I have relocated this week, so my news and notes and thoughts might not be fully complete, but I have some thoughts and some news to present to you today, so that's why I'm here for the Dep Lewis Show, episode 21. So this might be a shorter episode. It might be a little disjointed, but hey, we're going to have an episode, and I'm glad to do so. Like I said, I relocated this week, so I'm fully in my new place, and I'm able to do the podcast globally, internationally, wherever I want. So that's not going to stop me from bringing you this great video game content, even if it's not as exactly like I'd like it to be, but hey. Life happens. This is episode 21. Shout out to 21 Savage. Shout out to all the savages out there. 20, 19, 18. Stupid joke. And that's how we're going to get this show started. So, full episodes. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, if you want to help out the show, you can follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Added that in there. It's been on Google, but I haven't been saying it. YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, and you can see some gameplay there. And my notes from the last show. Just sorry for the ands and the ums and the sneezes. And whatever else sounds, sorry. I'm trying to get better at this. I was kind of having a cough or being sick for a couple weeks here, so that was not helping for a vocal performance. And I hope this is a proper show. I'm getting more comfortable doing this at least. I'm not as nervous. I still have to do some retakes, but it's becoming just more and more fun doing this. So hopefully that is translating to the audio and the sound. All right, so let's see. Other notes. Dep Lewis Show is relocated, and I've done this. I'm in a new city. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here. There's some sports teams. So you might be hearing, the end section, shifting, the miscellaneous talk section of the show where we talk sports and anything else I want to talk, outside the video game world. Maybe we'll start getting some of these local sports teams in my talks. We will see. I went to something last night and it was cool, so maybe we'll talk about that at the end, because I don't really have too much prepared for the end. All right, so this is a correction from last episode. I believe when I was talking about the ground floor tier on Patreon, which is the $1 per month tier, and that's the only tier, not $100 a month, I was saying there's 100 slots open in this ground floor tier for $1 a month. So if you'd like to support the Dep Lewis Show and get ad-free video of the Dep Lewis Shows Off series. The first entry in that series is Dep Lewis Shows Off Dead Space. You can pay $1 a month to support the show. It's generally just supporting me, but you can also get access to these Dep Lewis Shows Off videos now that I've only done one of, but I have plans to do many. And since I'm putting those on YouTube, you'll have to watch with ads. So the little benefit of subscribing to the Patreon is you can watch the Dep Lewis Shows Off blank ad free. So please go subscribe to the Patreon if you'd like to support the show extra. But any way you can support the show is appreciated, and I really do thank you from the bottom of my video game heart. So just thank you for being here today. I hope you're doing good. I hope everything in your life has been fun and prosperous, and I hope some cool shit's been going on for you. So just want to say that here too, since you're a great listener, since you're listening to the best show on the planet. All right, another correction from last show. I was talking about the name of Splatoon 3, the new story player content. It's actually called Side Order, so I knew it was a 2-word phrase. I just couldn't think of what it was. So it's called the Side Order. The Splatoon 3 expansion pass is $24.99. I can't justify buying this yet because I have no nostalgia for Inkopolis, but I've added this to my wish list. I feel like when the Side Order content comes out, it's going to review pretty well and people are going to be pretty hype on it. And the one trailer was kind of mysterious and cool. So this would be something I can imagine myself wanting to check out, and then I'll reap the benefits of liking Inkopolis. We will see. All right, so some other stuff I wanted to talk about from last show, Like a Dragon Ishin, which has been released since we last talked, is not available on Game Pass at launch, like the rest of the Yakuza series, so womp womp there. And the other Game Pass news I looked up was MLB The Show 23 will be available on Game Pass at launch. So the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show is Major League Baseball, so I'll be playing MLB The Show to get clips for the podcast and for TikTok and things like that. So you'll be hearing me talk about some about MLB The Show 23. I don't know, that game's always just pretty good. There's not too many changes besides roster and just updates like that, but it's a very high quality game, and it'll be great for getting some Atlanta Braves footage, so that's what you can expect. Alright, so for here for the show today, and like I said, we might have a point where the sound's disjointed. I might have to pause and come back in, but we're going to have a podcast either way. Episode 21 is going to be an excellent episode. Shout out to 21 Savage, 21. Alright, so for this show today, we're going to have the first section, which is what we're in right now. We're going to talk about what I've been playing in a second. And then in the second section, we're going to talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. There is a upcoming show that I want to talk about, an upcoming presentation, and there was a presentation that happened this week that I have some news about. So that's what we're going to talk about in the midsection. In the last section of this show, will probably be extra short today, but we're going to go through the official sports teams of the Dep Lewis Show, maybe talk about some potential future ones there. So a miscellaneous talk section will probably be a little abridged today because I haven't had too much time to think of my miscellaneous thoughts. I've been having a hard enough time getting these video game thoughts together this week, so that's what we're going to mainly focus on here today. But I do got to say, I've been playing a lot of great games. Even with moving, I've been able to play some stuff and making some progress. So I have a little bit to talk about there, and then there was a good bit of news, so that's what we're going to talk about in the middle section. So just thank you so much for being here today. So let's get it started. I'm not going to sing that again like last episode. Alright, so the first game that I've been playing this week, something that released January 20th, 2023, that is Fire Emblem Engage. I completed the Chapter 17 battle, the 6 rings versus 6 rings battle. It was very cool. There was 1 million people on that map. There was 1 million different ways you can go. You're getting attacked from enemies from all sides. There was actually big monster creatures on the map, or I think there was only one, but he was quite annoying. My girl Ivy was able to take care of him. The fortune teller guy is really cool. I've started using him more. He's on the Somniel, and he'll tell you your fortune at nighttime, and he can go through all the different characters and tell you a little bit about them. And then he's also in battle. I've been using him. He's very cool. I like he can summon ice blocks on the map, so that's his move you can use to spend your turn, but I think it's 4 ice blocks that, characters are unable to pass through unless they destroy, so it's a really great defensive tactic, and I think a really cool element to add into your team, so I've been really carrying him a lot lately. I can't remember his name, but he's really, really cool looking, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm using him more in my team recently. And then talk about the different emblems. That's something I want to do for one of these shows. I'll probably do this in maybe the next couple weeks, or maybe when I wrap up this game, I want to talk about the different emblems in this game and rank them. So I think Lucina is my favorite one right now, off the main character Aelier, which is Vin, the Divine Dragon for me, and I really like Lucina. She's really cool. I liked Marth before, but I think Lucina's taking the cake for me. But there's also another lady. I don't know all the Fire Emblem people, so I want to do a dive at some point, and then I'll rank which ones I think are cool from my experience in this game and just what I know of Fire Emblem. I think that could be fun to do. It's kind of a summary thing for Fire Emblem Engage, so expect to see that at some point. And I just want to say, a lot of these notes, I've had a crazy week, so a lot of these notes I wrote in the midst of, just time I had on these days, so I might be refreshing my memory when we're going through these notes as well. So that's how the show's going to be today, but I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you will find some information useful. Alright, so the next game I've been playing is the Dead Space remake. I've been playing some of this actually since I moved, and I beat Chapter 5 yesterday. I was escaping that creature. I had to lock him in the... God, I hated that guy following me. It was so scary, so annoying. He's constantly following you. I feel like that's like the character in Resident Evil 2 that's just on the map and following you, and you really can't deal with him. But at the end of the... spoiler alert, at the end of Chapter 5, you lock him in you cryo-freeze that guy. So you have to lure him in there. You have to stasis him so he stands still, and then you go around this thing and press the button. So they have you in this little tiny room with it's a room. There's a room within a room, and there's 2 doors to get into the smaller room, and they're all open. So you're just running into that room. That room has the control panel, and then the other separate room has the cryogenic chamber or whatever, the cryo-freeze chamber, whatever it is. So the goal there, which I didn't immediately realize, I was just running around trying to find the door, trying to fight that guy. But the goal there was to stasis the creature. I forget what he's called. Let's see. The creature. I think calling him the creature is pretty scary. And you lock him in there, and then you stasis him, then you run over to that panel, hit it, and then it freezes his ass like Han Solo in there, and it transports him to to a vat. So maybe all those vats will get released later and they'll all be attacking me. But for now, I handled my business and I'm on to chapter 6. So I believe that's the halfway spot in this game. So I love the Dead Space game. It's been very fun. I really like. I don't know. I'm kind of over all the. Not over the scary parts of it because they're still scary, but I'm just more comfortable with it and it's more fun and it's just more about playing, having fun with the game instead of me just being scared and getting freaked out and wondering if I'm gonna like this. I already know now I do like this game and it's very fun. And the combat's cool, and the characters are cool, and the graphics are cool, and the scenery is cool, and the story, a little bit of story is cool. And I think the atmosphere is cool. The outdoor scenes are cool. The no gravity, the being able not to breathe, like all that shit's cool as hell in this game. So chapter 5 was really good. This game is really, really going pretty ham right now. And I escaped that damn creature. Been running for him for a while. I met the doctor. Meeting the doctor was the scariest part in the game so far because he actually freezes you and starts talking shit to you. And I want to take him out, so that's my plan. I want to take that fool out because he was scaring the hell out of me, and that was definitely the scariest scene in the game that I'm remembering right now. And yeah, when I last wrote these notes, I was still running from that creature and using more kinesis and getting better at it. But as of yesterday, that creature is locked away in a vat. He is frozen, so he is no longer running around chasing me. So hopefully, chapter 6 will be a little more exploratory and a little bit slower paced. Chapter 5 had me running. My ass was running pretty much all of chapter 5, running away from stuff and, even skipping enemies just to get in the door kind of thing and running to the door and hoping no one was coming, from behind to attack me. So chapter 5 was stressful. It was stressing me out. But very, 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 very cool. So my other note in this game is I said I think I want to play Metroid Prime I watched some footage of this. I want to play Metroid Prime Remastered after completing Dead Space. I think it's a cool transition. It seems like a great game to transition to is what I said. And that allows me to see some more survival horror type gaming because Dead Space is not survival type horror, but I mean you are on a ship. It's a little Dead Space like you're on a planet. It's one solo planet. It's kind of reminiscent of the Ishimura, just being one whole hub area that you're in the whole time, but it's very vast and different, and you have to go back to places sometimes. So I don't know if I complete Dead Space. I wonder if that counts as me completing a Metroidvania for the first time. It's something I've always kind of wanted to do. Besides a Metroid game, it's spawned a whole bunch of games that are like it. And I don't know if I've ever beaten a Metroidvania. They've always kind of been a bugaboo for me because it involves the backtracking and, not being able to get to things right away. And some of that can be confusing. And sometimes the map stuff can be confusing in the Metroidvanias for me of where to go. So, I don't know. I never thought about that being a Metroidvania, but maybe a little bit. And I just watched some footage of people playing that remaster. I've only heard good things about it. And I want to pick it up. It looks like it would be a cool game to satisfy the same kind of itch Dead Space is right now after I complete it. So that is the plan, and I want to let you know. And for a Switch copy of Metroid Prime Remastered, it's $39.99 right now. So, I don't know if we'd see a sale, but if we saw a $5 sale or something, that would be cool. And probably, it would probably cause me to jump at it. And so now, if you hear some feedback in the headphones right now, I have my washing machine going. I started running it right before this podcast, which is not smart, but I had to wash some towels in there. I had a whole big load of towels, and I wanted to make sure this stuff at this new place works so I can, report accordingly if it does not. So, excuse my towels going in there. I told you this is going to be kind of a haywire, kind of funky podcast, so just thank you for going through with me. And let's see here. All right, so that was Dead Space Remake. That game has been fun, and I still have that on the docket, so you'll probably hear me talk about that some next week. Another game I've been playing is TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. I'm still playing some of that. I think I'm pretty close to the end of this game. I don't know if I'm on the final section. I'm still rocking Donatello. I beat Chapter 10. I think I beat 11. And the chapter I'm on now, I lost to the final boss. So I lost all 3 of my lives in that level, or 4 of them, or whatever. There was a mini boss in the middle, and I got to the end, which might be the final boss. And I died to him with, hardly any health left. But I was having trouble figuring out what to do in that fight, so that wasn't helping me. But I just didn't want to replay it at that point because I don't know why, but I still have that to tackle, and I will. And I really, really like this game. I like that this game is relaxing. The combat's pretty simple. The game looks amazing. It's fun to control the characters, and I could see myself playing this some more even after I beat it. Maybe I would play as a different character to try it out because this is really kind of a great. I don't want to say mindless, but it is pretty low impact on playing, and it's just fun. And I think there's difficulty levels, so I'm definitely playing on an easy difficulty. But like I said, I've died at, numerous times, and I died on the boss, and I'm not always quick to pick up on the puzzle going on, so, I don't know if I need to raise the difficulty anymore. I don't think that would help me enjoy it, but I would maybe like playing another character. Would be cool because they'd have a different play style or whatever. But I really like Donatello, and I've been having fun with him, and I highly recommend that game. It kind of makes me want to go back and play Turtles in Time, which you can get through that TMNT Cowabunga collection. And I want to, Turtles in Time was one of my favorite games from back in the day, and I wonder if Shredder's Revenge is objectively better, or if Turtles in Time is still doing really cool. It still holds up and is really fun to play. So I don't know, maybe I'll dive into that at some point. And that's just a plan on the docket here. All right. So what else I've been playing? I haven't really played this too much in the last couple of days or whatever in the more recent week, but I started playing this the week prior, actually. I just didn't really talk about it last week, and then I played a little more around recording last week's podcast, and I'm kind of getting into it, and that is HiFi Rush. That is the critically acclaimed game that was shadow dropped on Game Pass and Xbox earlier in the year, a couple weeks ago, I guess. I just started playing this game through Game Pass. It looks amazing. It's $29.99 if you buy a normal digital copy. It's very fun. I like the music a whole lot. Picking up the gears or whatever. So after you fight some enemies, they drop gears or music notes or whatever it is. But it feels a lot like Ratchet and Clank picking those up, and I love that aspect of it. The story setup and characters are cool. It's not cheesy or even trying too hard to be cool, but it is kind of cool, and that's very refreshing. It really is just cool, and it's not like cheesy or cringy it's just a cool video game. And the tagline for this is a rhythm-based action game developed by Tango Gameworks and published by Bethesda Softworks for the Windows and Xbox Series X and S platforms. It was announced on January 25th, 2023, so it's been out for a month, and released worldwide that same day. Platforms include Xbox Series X and S, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and Microsoft Windows. And here's a longer description of it too if you want to hear some more info. HiFi Rush is a slick and stylish action game, but it's also a game about what it feels like to play music live. The rhythm hack and slash title from developer Tango Gameworks is rooted in John Johannes' own history with music. The game's director was the guitarist in a band with friends in high school playing Radiohead covers as a self-taught group. His experience on stage during the school's Battle of the Bands, as well as a few one-off shows later, is one he remembers fondly. So that makes sense because this game is, the main character wants to be a rock star is his whole thing. And he's a really cool protagonist. The enemies in this game are fun. All the battling stuff in this game is fun. The rhythm aspects of this game are fun. The game looks and sounds great, so this is something I'm going to be playing more of once I get past these two, I don't know what these behemoths, is that a word? Behemoths or behemoths? Some giant things. The two giant things I have going on right now are Fire Emblem Engage and Dead Space Remake. So HiFi Rush will kind of take more of a forefront once I complete one of those. But that game has been very cool, and I can't wait to play some more of it. I think it's about 17 gigs to download on your Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. So very, very cool, and I think you should check it out if you'd like to. All right, so that's going to wrap up the first section of this show out here. So we talked about some games that I've been playing, which are Fire Emblem Engage, Dead Space Remake, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and played some HiFi Rush, and mainly talked about my recap from my experience with it so far, and I need to get back into playing that some more. It might be a few weeks before you hear me talk about HiFi Rush or something like that, but I would maybe expect to hear some more of that in the future from me. So we're going to come back in just a minute for our mid-section of the show to talk about what I've been seeing, and we have to talk about a show that's coming up tomorrow, and we're going to talk about a show that happened last week, and just a few other news. There's 2 games that dropped last week, and then I have a little bit of a review I want to do on a console. I have a new console. It's not really like anything new. It's not that it's not exciting, but I have a new version of a console, and I'm going to talk about it. All right, so we're going to be back in just a minute. Don't go nowhere, and come back and smoke on this midsection with me. Welcome back to the midsection of the Dep Lewis Show. This is episode 21. And welcome back to the show. We got some news for you today. We got some game releases for you today, and we got a review of a console today. So that's what we're going to get into. And once again, if this section has to abruptly pause and come back, my apologies. But that is just the way it's going to have to go this week. So, all right. So today is Sunday, February 26th. We're having a typical Sunday podcast. So that is the tradition of the Dep Lewis Show. Sometimes you get it early, but you'll get it by Sunday. So that is the Dep Lewis Show guarantee. So for tomorrow, Monday, February 27, 2023, we're getting a Pokemon Presents. This will roughly be 20 minutes and available to watch on the Pokemon YouTube channel at 6 a.m. Pacific and 9 a.m. Eastern. So this is a morning show, so I need to set my alarm for the morning. I'm actually not working my normal job this week, so I'm on vacation. Since after I move, I need this time to recuperate and play some video games and get my life situated and all that kind of stuff. Get some stuff done and also relax is the goal of this week. So I need to make sure I still make these video game things though, because I want to watch it. So it'll be nice to be able to watch this with some morning coffee and not be stressing about work. And I'll hopefully have some cool news to report back to you next week about this. And tomorrow, just in general, is Pokemon Day. And just for some frame of reference, last year we got the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet announcement on Pokemon Day, which apparently has a long-awaited patch coming in February. And this will be the second patch release for this game. So, I don't know. I like Pokemon a whole lot. And I was a little scared of all the glitches and kind of bad reviews of not the actual gameplay, but the game just runs poorly, is what it sounds like. And hopefully this will be fixing some things. I'll be interested to hear people's reports of this and how it actually affects the gameplay and the game experience. And maybe I'll pick up Scarlet and Violet or one of those, because I need a second game to pick in my Nintendo vouchers. I want to buy a Nintendo voucher for Breath of the Wild, or not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and then I want to be able to use that voucher to get another game, because that's pretty good savings. So if we can get a great patch for this game, that might entice me to go drop the cash. We will see. But Pokemon Presents will be tomorrow, so check it out for yourself, or come back here next week and hear my take, and I'll tell you all about it. So either way, it will be perfect. All right, so we did have a show last week. This show actually came up. I don't know, I just missed this. I knew it was happening that day, but I wasn't able to watch it. I was busy, so I was like, damn, I got to catch up on this. So I actually watched MinMax talk over the live stream of the Sony State of Play, and I got to say, it was okay. I think this was an okay one for me to miss, because I don't have too much hype surrounding this. I have some hype for some of these things, but they're things I'm already going to buy, so I don't necessarily need more hype. But we're going to go through the list of what was announced or talked about during that show, and I've gotten these notes. I watched the show on the MinMax YouTube, but I got these notes from IGN. It's like a recap. So I'm going to read through some of these, and I'll tell you the things that I think look especially cool. So the first thing they had was Rocksteady shares an extended look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I think this was kind of the biggest part of this show, and just not something I'm interested in. I don't know if I've played the previous game by Rocksteady, and I'm not a huge I like comic book stuff okay, and I just don't know. I just don't know if I'll be spending my time doing that, but a lot of people should be excited about that, just for the crossover in the Justice League and the video game. And then, alright, so the next bit of news, something I will be interested about and something I will be buying, is Capcom reveals 3 new Street Fighter 6 characters. I didn't even bother to look up the characters, because Street Fighter 6 will get my money on June 2nd, 2023 either way. And I mainly play Ryu, so I'm pretty noob-like. So my goal for Street Fighter 6 is going to be to venture out and learn some new characters, but I'll be doing that when the time comes. So just cool to be seeing some more information about Street Fighter and realizing that'll kind of be here before we know it. I think I'm going to buy this on Xbox is the plan, so I can do some online play like I did with Street Fighter 4. And I'm really excited for Street Fighter. It's going to be great. 5 didn't really hit so hard for me as like 4 did, so it'll be nice to have 6 and give that a shot. And hopefully it can be something pretty epic and kind of rejuvenate the fighting game world. It's always fun when it gets a nice boost from a game, and people are back saying like, "Oh, fighting games are the shit again. Fighting games rule. Fighting games are back." But fighting games are always here. It just kind of goes through cycles, and sometimes there will be kind of a hallmark or a monumental release that everyone it gets more than just casual fighting game fans. It gets others outside of that, and I think that adds some pretty good time to the game, because Street Fighter 4 was definitely like that, and I was definitely someone who got hooked on fighting games from Street Fighter 4. So Street Fighter 6, you got my money. No more to be said there. Alright, another line item. Baldur's Gate 3 launches on August 31, 2023. I don't know too much about that, but seems like it could be cool. There's a new Resident Evil 4 trailer. It confirms the return of Mercenaries mode. This is the one thing I still want to watch in this show, because I'm going to buy this Resident Evil 4 remake, and I want to watch this trailer because I heard it was really cool, and I just need to do that. So I'll probably watch it this week, and maybe I'll tell you about it next week if I think it's extra cool. But you can go watch it for yourself right now, and everyone knows Resident Evil 4 is one of the greatest games ever. So trailers for this is basically just, fan service, just getting people hyped, so marketing. But very cool. Alright, so Bungie reveals Destiny 2 Lightfall launch trailer ahead of next week's launch. That trailer looked really cool. There was like a beam of light coming out of this guy's head, and it looked really neat. Destiny has a cool art style, and I played a lot of Destiny back in the day, Destiny 1 and 2, and I just don't really keep up and play with it anymore, but I know there is a large population and segment of the video game world that does, so very, very cool. And Destiny feels like something that if you ever wanted to get back into it, just take you a little bit to get your bearings, but you could easily get back into it, and there would probably be, multiple games and new content that you haven't seen in there. So Destiny 2, if you're ever in a rut, want to play some video games, feel like you don't have anything to play, just jump back into that, and I think that can help you out. Alright, the next announcement, Tetris Effect developers reveal a new project called Humanity. I think this looks insanely cool. I really love Tetris Effect. I meant to look up some more details on this, but I think this is one of the more interesting trailers here and things that I'll be excited about. So I think you should go check it out, and we'll be talking about this more in the future, but this is definitely something on my radar, and probably something I'll be purchasing to see what it is. It was really, really, just looks different and out there. I'm kind of trusting the Tetris Effect developers after making that amazing game that I'd like to probably play again at some point. Possibly buy it on the Switch or whatever. But Tetris Effect, if you've never played that, go play it. It's amazing. All right, and there's a game called Tchia. I don't know if that's how you say it, but TCIHIA is launching in the PlayStation Plus Extra tier this March. All right, some more news. Goodbye Volcano High is coming to PS5 and PS4 on June 15th, 2023. I like the art style of this game. These are those monster guys. You might be able to have some romance options in here. I'm not sure what all is going on with this game, but on the MinMax podcast, Ben and Sarapods, or on the State of Play, live talk over they did on MinMax, Ben and Sarapods were joking about this, and it was pretty funny about the character style and the art style and what they'll be doing. So I don't know if I'll play this game, but it's just something I enjoy that's out there, and it's fun to see some content of, and maybe I could play it. You never know. All right, next announcement. Naruto times Boruto, the Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections, or should it be Collections? I don't know. That could have been a typo. It gets a new trailer, but I didn't watch it. I guess this is a fighting game. I don't know if I've ever played a Naruto fighting game. I played one Naruto game back in the day, Rise of the Ninja. That was epic as hell. And I've heard these Naruto fighting games are cool, but I've just never played them. But maybe I'll check some more information on that at some point. And then the last bit of news from the Sony State of Play was a new trailer for Digital Extreme and Airship Syndicate's Wayfinder. So that's the last thing I have to report from that. So the main things I'm looking forward to there are the Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil 4, the new game by Tetris Effect developers called Humanity, and maybe some Naruto and Boruto, and that Goodbye Volcano High could be something cool to check out at some point too. So there's a decent amount of stuff there, and I think it was overall an okay show. The Nintendo Direct we had recently had the bar really, really high this year, so I don't know. It's just always fun to get video game news and see some new stuff and some announcements and see what some of the developers are working on and see games that some people love that I don't know about, and just see them get new stuff. So very cool for the Sony State of Play. You can go watch that on their YouTube channel now, or watch your favorite podcaster, whoever, stream and talk over it. I believe MinMax. I know MinMax did it, and I'm not sure if any other outlets did, but I'm sure they did. But MinMax is the one I watched, so I would recommend that to you. Alright, so we're going to go through a few more things here. I just want to mention again that PSVR 2 is released. It's $549.99, and then $599.99 for the Call of the Mountain bundle, that Horizon game. I've been hearing a pretty good amount of positive things about this VR headset, and I still don't think it has me wanting to, get interested in buying one or even thinking about buying one, but I don't know, it doesn't. I feel like this is hitting a little bit more of a mainstream mark, but I don't know. I don't know if it's changing the game quite yet, but I think this thing has some improvements from what I can tell. It would be cool to be sent one of these from Sony so I could check it out. So that's my call to Sony. My beg, my plead. Send me one of these, Sony. That'd be nice. That's the Dep Lewis Show. This is the best show you'll ever know. And you want to hear the best commentary about your hardware. Send it over here to the Dep Lewis Show. I relocated, but not hard to find. All right. All right, we had 2 games released last week on Friday, the 24th, February 24th, 2023. I just want to highlight those games came out. I think you can pick these up. I know you can pick up this first one from the Nintendo vouchers, but the other game is multi-platform. So you can go buy this week if you'd like to. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. That's a remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland. And then Octopath Traveler 2 released, which is the sequel to Octopath Traveler 1. And I believe that game is on Switch and PlayStation, so you can play that on PlayStation if you like, and I'm not sure if that's part of Nintendo Switch vouchers, but it'd be pretty cool if you wanted to buy both those games. You could get them both for $100 total through the Nintendo voucher system if that's Both of them are listed. I know Kirby's is. Not sure about Octopath, but go check them out if this is interesting to you. All right, loyal listeners out there, this is the last thing I want to talk about. This is something I bought a couple weeks back, so I've had some time with it now. I just relocated, so I was traveling with this instead of using my Series X. So spoiler alert, I bought an Xbox Series S. I traded in most of my physical game stuff not too long ago, and I had some money to GameStop, so I went and copped a Series S. I was like, I can make the Xbox my main platform of choice. I can have this Series S. It's nice for traveling, going out and about, and your saves, transfer right over on the cloud, and it's been really, really cool. And so I'm going to tell you a few things what I think about this Xbox Series S. If you haven't jumped to the new next gen yet, I think this could be a great option for you, especially if you're not gaming all the time, especially if you don't want to drop the $500 to $400 for the Series X or the PlayStation 5. I think the Series S is a perfect choice for an avid gamer, but someone whose whole life isn't gaming. And I think it's perfect. I think this is a great way if you want to try some new games. Maybe you don't play games all throughout the year, but you do. You play a few games a year or something. This thing would be perfect. So I'm gonna go through my notes of the Xbox Series S and tell you what I think about it. So let's see what I have here to say. I said I've had this for a couple weeks now, and I really love it. Yeah, I'm not even using my Series X currently. It's actually packed away right now, and I have to go retrieve it and get it back here to my new place. I traded in the majority of my physical gaming stuff so I could purchase this. I think I got it for $240 from GameStop, and I picked it up in store, and that was a great experience with them. I wanted to say that. I really like the white controller. I like the form factor of the console. I like how small it is. It's very, very quiet, and it plays the Xbox games. It's really, really cool. And I can switch between my saves on each console seamlessly, which is really cool. So I have a TV currently, and I have a computer monitor. So typically I'll have the Series X hooked up to the TV and the Series S to my monitor here. But I don't know, it's just cool. It's nice to have. It feels like a real flexible item that I purchased. It kind of embeds me in the Xbox side of things a little more, which is okay and cool because I like their digital platform and all that kind of stuff. But it's been really fun having this. It's definitely just kind of an extra purchase, but I think it's been really helpful and useful, and it's made my gaming experience really nice. And I don't even know if I would require having an Xbox Series X. I don't know if there's that huge of a difference in the processing power from what I'm seeing. The hard drive is not an issue, but you get double the hard drive space with the Series X. But if you don't want to have, I probably have 8 games installed, and I still have some room on the Series S. And I think 3 of those games are pretty high gig games. A lot of indies are pretty small and stuff like that. Or HiFi Rush is 18, which is not insignificant. But Call of Duty can be 100 gigs, or NBA 2K is 170 gigs. So that's going to take up the majority of your hard drive on these. But especially if you're buying a Series S, you're not a giant gamer. If you only play one game at a time, or possibly 2, perfect console to buy. And it allows you to play anything next gen. So that's the best selling point, especially with now when we're seeing some games that come out aren't available on prior gen. So I think this was a great entry point. I think this is really what I would recommend to people, unless I just knew someone who had a lot of money, or someone who gamed all the time, or had a big physical game collection that needed the disc slot. Because this is a discless console. But other than that, I would highly recommend the Xbox Series S to anyone, especially for the price, the portability, and the performance. It works freaking great. That thing is awesome. Let's see. It's very portable and easy for traveling. Only negative, it's the smaller hard drive. But yeah, I still have a large number of games installed. And I can tell the difference in visuals a little bit, but I don't think it takes away from the experience at all. I really like this console. The white controller looks nice, and I like how simple it all is. So Xbox Series S, you get a 10 out of 10 from me. Xbox, I love you. I guess I'm on your side of the gang right now pretty hard, and I'm enjoying it over here. So shout out to Xbox. Shout out to Xbox Series S and X. If you want to go cop something, go cop a Series S. Look for a sale. I think you can probably find a pre-owned one still, or a pre-owned one nowadays at GameStop or somewhere. So great little console. Has a lot of power. I think it can satisfy all your next-gen needs, and you heard it here from the Dep Lewis Show. Cop an Xbox Series S if you don't have one. Really, really great console. Really cool. Go Xbox. All right, so that's going to wrap up the midsection today. We talked about the Pokemon Presents that comes up tomorrow on the 27th, so check that out tomorrow morning for some Pokemon news. We had the Sony State of Play this week, so you can go watch that. Watch the recording of the live stream, or go watch MinMax or some other outlet talk over it. That's really fun to do. You can go cop PSVR 2. It's out there and available now if you got $600. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe was released, and Octopath Traveler 2 was released. You can go cop those now if you may please. Then we talked about my purchase of the Xbox Series S. I've had this for a couple weeks now, and I highly recommend it. And I just wanted to say how great that is. So that is going to wrap up the mid-section of the show. We're going to take one more break and come back for the Miscellaneous Talk section. The Miscellaneous Talk section is going to be just very, very quick thoughts. So, set the expectations low, and maybe I'll exceed them by just a little bit, but I probably won't. So we'll be back in just a second. Well, welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 21. This is actually a section I don't have any notes for today, so this is going to be flying by the seat of my pants, and it's going to be sort of brief, but we are going to discuss a few things. The Carolina Panthers, official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show. The only thing I want to say there is I'm excited to see what this new coaching staff can do. I want them to extend Brian Burns. That's all I got to say. Pay Brian Burns his money and pay him handsomely and keep him on the team. I wonder if he'll ever have a number change, because he's one of the few still holding out on the 50. He's number 53. I wonder if he ever wants a single-digit number, but we will see. And Carolina Panthers, the only thing I want to say is Deuce Staley is now a coach on the team, and they keep talking about his personality. I think it sounds like a good mix for the locker room, because Frank Reich seems pretty buttoned up, and I think some of the other coaches like Jim Caldwell do. So Deuce having some juice and some energy seems really cool. So I like the stories I've been hearing about him on the team. So just kind of in wait and see mode for the Panthers until the season starts. Hopefully they're getting all their ducks in a row and working things out and getting a plan in place to dominate the NFC South like they should and like they're capable of doing, because especially with the NFC South being so weak, Panthers should be able to grab a little bit of hold if they play their cards right. So that's all I'm hoping on. All right, the Atlanta Hawks, official NBA team of the Dep Lewis Show, but you never know, that might change. That's just a spoiler alert for what I'm going to talk about a little bit here. But Atlanta Hawks, I saw them get a win the other night against the Timberwolves, and that's all I really have to report on the Hawks. Like I said, I've been really busy this week, so I haven't been able to keep up too much with the Hawks. But I am now in a city where I can watch some NBA, so I think I'm going to a game Wednesday night this week, so I will be reporting back to you on that next week about what I see. And I'll kind of leave that as a spoiler alert for what I'm going to talk about. But we might have some new sports teams to talk about in this show, because I could be seeing some sports more regularly now, which is cool, which is part of my move. So I just want to highlight that mainly in this section today. That, I'm not giving you a lot in the miscellaneous sports talk or miscellaneous talk section involving the sports today, but in the future, you're going to be getting a lot. So, just take this as a little break, a little rest if you don't like the sports talk. You're not going to hear too much today, but then in about a month, you're going to be hearing tons of this in this section. So we will see. This podcast is ever developing, and I haven't been doing this podcast since one of my favorite sports going on. So when baseball starts, I'm going to have some stuff to talk about in this end section about the Braves. So that's the next thing to talk about. The Atlanta Braves, that's the official team of the Dep Lewis Show. It's the official Major League Baseball team of the Dep Lewis Show, and it's the official team in general of the Dep Lewis Show. And Major League Baseball is the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, and I wish the Dep Lewis Show was sponsored by Major League Baseball. That's another thing. We're begging for a VR headset out here now. We're begging for a sponsorship from MLB, and whatever. MLB, hit me up, commish, Mr. Manfred. I'll take a couple $1 million. That'd be nice. All right, but the Atlanta Braves started spring training yesterday. They lost in the ninth inning, I think it was, because of the pitch clock rule. The bases were loaded. The pitcher was not being mindful, or let the pitch clock run out, and they walked the man home. And they won the game and ended the game, and it was kind of big news in the sports world. Like I said, like my excuse this whole week, I was kind of busy, but I did see, this popping up quite frequently that this happened, and this is an example. They're saying, "Oh, look, this is how it's going to go. More of this to come." But I'm going to hold my thoughts off until I watch some this season and really review it. Got to kind of give these people the benefit of the doubt a little bit, especially if you love the sport, that they're making the right choices. And, maybe I'm just not seeing the vision immediately, but I'm going to watch, a million of these games. There's 162 of them. I probably watch 150 of them or something, maybe more. So I'll be getting a feel for these rule changes, and I can discuss them with you throughout the season once I, feel confident in my review of them and what I think, how it affects the game. But that's something I look forward to doing. Spring training has been going on. I've been trying to watch some of that. I watched some of the game yesterday. and I'm getting a plan in place I need to be able to watch the Braves games this season. I think Fubo TV is seeming like my best option, but that's like $75 a month for the base tier. And then the other option for watching the Braves, I think that's mainly the only one I've found so far besides MLB TV. And MLB TV will black out teams if you're in kind of their local area. So I just don't know. I relocated to a new place, so I have a free trial. I usually pay for MLB TV, but I have a free trial going now. You can't really, I believe everyone can get access to spring training on MLB TV right now. So when the season starts, I want to see what's blacked out in my area, and I got to be able to get these Braves games. So I may be trying something like a VPN at some point, but I got to watch the baseball. So March 30th is when the Braves season starts. I'm actually going to some Braves games in May. I'm not actually in Atlanta. I'm going to an away stadium to see 3 games in a row in May. So that's something exciting I'll have to report back and talk to you about on this show. And, just great things to come in the sports section of the Dep Lewis Show. Trying to think what else I got to say for this week. I relocated. Moving's never fun. It's nice to get your stuff organized and in a new space and set up, but moving is always a hassle. I don't really even have that much stuff, and it's always a pain. But it's always nice to get moved in and be settled, so I'm glad to be here. Glad to be doing the Dep Lewis Show. Episode 22 will be the first full episode in the new location, so I should have a good week of playing some games and taking some notes and getting my thoughts together for a more well-rounded show. But I really appreciate you listening to this today. It was still very fun. Glad to be able to come here and talk to you for the Dep Lewis Show in 21 episodes. It's one of the highlights of my week, coming on here and talking about this and being able to hear my stupid voice talking about video games and things I think are cool. And I get tons of stats on this podcast, and last week I got a really cool stat on just number of downloads. These are all really small milestones for my new podcast I started, but I had 26 26 unique downloads of my podcast last week across all the episodes. So just thank you so much. That's super cool. Sometimes when I release a podcast the week after, it only has maybe 6 downloads. So having 26 in a week across the whole catalog of my podcast is really, really cool and exciting, and I really can't believe it. So it's really neat. And what else did I want to say about this podcast? I can't believe those downloads. I want to figure out what that means to download. Like, is it someone actually downloading it? Because you also get some numbers if you look at Apple's thing about views. So I don't know. I think I'm trying to give myself more credit here, being like, I think more people listen than 26 even. But 26 is I never really could have even imagined that would happen in a week. So just thank you very much for listening to this podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode today, and just all the other ones. And it's really cool that people are starting like from the beginning or listening to old episodes. I always just kind of think, after the week drops, that no one's going to listen to those old episodes. But that's getting that stat last week through Buzzsprout is showing me that people will go back to your catalog. So this podcast is normally talking about games I'm playing currently and the news going on currently. But I think it's a great snapshot for what's going on. And obviously, if you're not keeping up with video games all the time, going back on this podcast could be beneficial, because I could be talking about something from just started in October, but something from the past that you never tried out or missed out on, or I mentioned something that's coming out later on. So I think there is value to going back and listening, and I really appreciate it if you do. So just thank you for being here in any form or facet, and that's it. That's going to wrap up this show today. I just want to tell you one more thing to do. The housekeeping. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. And I just appreciate the hell out of you. I hope you have a great week. I'll be back next week for episode 22. I think next week, I have till Sunday. Sunday's the standard day for the Dep Lewis Show, but you can see this week's episode get out early because I am on vacation this week. Hopefully it'll be a good week for me. Hopefully it'll be a good week for you. Hopefully it'll be a good week for video games. And either way, I'll be back next week for episode 22. So I'll see you next week, and thank you for listening as always.